my name is Sammy Kiarie, as I said earlier from SK Live. My name is Kevin Amarende. My name is Philip Mommy.
Thank you for the invitation. The guest is Mentor Paul Castro from the ICS.
So, our first question about human rights. So, what are these human rights?
Human rights are claims. Claims are entitled to a person. Yeah. What what if you are violated, or rather, if you are denied that, then someone is interfering with what you right. Uh, I would want to say that this is something that you feel like it rightfully belongs to you. Yeah. So a claim that you're entitled to. That is what we call human rights.
Hearing about child abuse. So, what are some of the forms of child abuse?
Um, Child abuse. I think before we go to the forms of child abuse, you need to understand what child abuse is.
The definition of child abuse.
Yes. So just allow me to take you back. You asked me a question on the human rights,
Yeah.
and I told you human rights are claims entitled to a person. So before we go to the child abuse, I want you to know that everyone here has a right. Uh, the audience, those who are listening to me, those who are watching me now, you have a right. You have a right to survive. You have a right to be protected, and you have right to be alive. So survival rights. So we have categories. So those are just some of the categories of human rights that you need to know. As a learner who is here, as an individual, you need to by now know what are some of the rights that you are entitled to. And now to your second question, that is on abuse, and this is now narrowed down to child abuse. A child, by definition, is the people I can see here. We're all children. This group here. That is a child. Someone who is below 18. You are a child. Some of us are teens, in our teens, 11, 12, 13. So you're still a child. As long as you're still under the guidance of your parents, you're still a child. So child abuse is an ill treatment or neglect. I started by telling you that you have a right. So when we now talk about the child abuse, or rather, we're now talking about the ill treatment. How are your rights? A right to survival, a right to protection. How are they violated? So that's what we call a child abuse, ill treatment or negligence. Yeah.
So, what are some of the examples of the child abuse?
One of them is labor. Uh, None of you, when you're still below 18, below 18, you're not allowed to do hard work. You're not supposed to go to the farm to to pluck teeth when you're supposed to be in school. That is child labor. Anything that a child should not do is a child labor. So one of them is that uh, labor, and then another one is negligence of duty. This is when your parent or your caregiver neglects their duties as a child. You know, the things that you expect your parents or your mom or your caregiver to do to you. And when the youth do those things, that is what's called neglect. So that is another form of abuse. And we also talk about protection. They need to offer you that. Yes. So uh, I won't want to take much, but just a brief information on the same. So those are just some of the forms of child abuse that I believe you learners should know.
Yeah, but there are also some definitions I wanted to hear from you, like child trafficking.
Child trafficking. Oh, I didn't expect that from a young mind. I'm surprised. So, child trafficking is when a child is given birth to, or a child of your age, someone who is below 18 years, you you are kidnapped. What I mean by being kidnapped is you are on your way. You're just walking on the road. You've been sent by your mom or daddy. You're going to the shop to buy vegetables, and then someone shows you the hand, and what you see on the hand is sweet. So they entice you, or they bribe you with a sweet. They ask you to follow them, and after you have followed them, you disappear. They Most of them will try to use some chemicals to make you fall asleep, so they carry you when you are unconscious. And what I mean by unconscious is you not in your right state of mind. You don't think right. You don't know. You don't know if you're alive or dead. So when they take you and sell you to someone else, they exchange you or rather for money, or they take you to another country or another continent where you will be used as a slave. So that's what we call child trafficking. Literally, child trafficking is taking a child that belongs to a certain country to another country to be uh, used or have his or her rights violated.
Yeah. So there's a word you use there, slave. Is there a word such as slavery?
Um, yes, of course, because I've talked about slaves, so slavery exists. And slavery is, you know, over exploiting. Um, Lack of a simpler word, I would say, you use someone beyond the limit. Someone is supposed to do work for 3 hours. Now you let this person to do the work for 7 hours, and you underpay them. That is what we call slavery. Or at times you don't give them food, you don't give them shelter, you don't even pay them. That is slavery. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you. My partners here have some questions. Yes, you know, you have used
Be audible.
yes, you've tell us that some children do work. Which are some of these works that those children do?
I mentioned learners doing work when I was talking about child abuse. Some of the work that learners do is one of them, like I said, I was to go to the farm. I don't expect to find an underage, someone below 18 years, going to the farm when you're supposed to be in school. When you should be in school, you should be in school. And whenever your parents or your caregiver asks you to go to the farm when you're supposed to be in school, you should always have that reported. That is a work that you should not be doing. Or you find that you off school, you come from school, and then you are asked by your parents to go and stay with them in the market to sell until 9 or 10 in the night. Then you come back. After school, you need to go freshen up, relax your mind, do the chores. You have responsibilities. So learners, don't forget that you have responsibilities. When you live here, we expect to see you do something at home. What are some of the things that you need to do at home? One, I expect to see that after going home, you find the utensils not clean, you clean them. House dirty, you mop or clean the house. And if you're able to cook, you can prepare something for the family. But it should not be overly done. Overly done, I mean, you're spending the time that you should use to study doing this work. So those are some of the um, duties that a learner should not do. But don't forget that you have a responsibility, the things that you should do. So I don't expect you to come to me and tell me, okay, my mom said I need to do this, I need to wash the clothes for the whole family. There are things that you need to do. So before you start complaining, ask yourself, what did I do? But if it is overly done, always report.
Yes, now that one which is okay for children, how is it called? No.
I don't really think there is a better name for the work that is useful for the learners or the children, for that case. But I will call it child responsibility. What you should do in appropriate measure at the appropriate time. Yes.
You know, you have said that maybe when you move at school, your mother told you to go to the market and sell within vegetables. What is the action that you are supposed to do?
When your mom asks you to sell with other vegetables, what you need to do is go there, but ask your mom, how long am I going to take here? Because your mom should know at the back of her mind that this is a school student or a school pupil who need time to do the assignment, you need time to freshen up, and you need time to link up with your friends, go and play. You also need time for that pleasure. Yeah, so your leisure time, you should not be deprived that. So whenever you are asked by your parent to go to the market, always ask them for how long. And it should not exceed it should not take so long, such that you don't find time to hang out with your friend, but not the bad friends. You hang out with the good friends. So I don't expect you to uh, to leave the duties and go and meet your friend. You go start beating the rest, or you wanna get into the drugs or something. So it should not take so long. No, kutoka shule. Let's say you've left school at what time do you leave school?
Fine.
At 5. So you left school at 5. Let's say you walk along the way. You took 15 minutes to get home. So after that, freshen up. Go and meet your parents. Ask them, because of course you must link up with your parents. You know the way forward. What do you need to do for them? So when you go to the markets and stay with them, you should not stay from 5:30 or 6. You should not stay there until 8. That will be child abuse.
So, what are the effects of child abuse?
Uh, we have a very wide range of child abuse. Uh, One of them, you've not done your assignment. You come back to school as a teacher. You come back to school, you've not done my assignment. The first question is, what are you doing? Of course, some of us are very shy. Some of us are introverts. We don't speak out. So when a teacher asks you, why didn't you do your assignment? You know, you can't even express yourself. So you start to tremble. You wanna cry, and the teacher thinks, okay, this one doesn't wanna talk, and you don't do my work. One, you're going to be punished. That's physical harm, though it might be a light one, but to you, you are innocent. It's your parent who didn't give you time to do that. So one is punishment when you come to school, and then you didn't do the assignment. The other effect online is your dismal performance, or rather, a lower grades. You're going to start recording lower grades in your performance, and child abuse can also lead to isolation. You know, you don't meet up with your friends, so you're ever isolated. You start overthinking, you are depressed, and you start developing diseases like ulcers, a lot of them. Yeah, and you can end up having anxiety disorder. So,
Yeah, yeah. So you said that child abuse is something that can harm the child emotionally, physically, or even sexually. So I wonder how does this child get harmed, like physically?
physical physical is something that you can see. Uh, if you've been keen, you will realize that there are some learners who come to school and they have bruises. What I mean by bruises, they have open wounds or scratch or uh, finger marks on their body, or just a mark from punishment. that is of physical harm. So whenever such situation are seen, then what comes to your mind clearly is that this child must have undergone physical abuse. They were punished inappropriately.
Yeah, what about early marriages, uh, the, the circumcision of girls? Those they fall into which category?
Early marriages and FGM, circumcision for the girls are forms of violation. Yeah, there are actually other types of child abuse. A child should not be married when you're below 18. That is an abuse. Or the female genital mutilation, FGM, circumcision for the girls. I think it's something that as Kenya we're currently doing away with, but I'm well informed that we still have places that they exist. So in such cases that you realize your parent or your mom or your caregiver wants to have you married at such an early age, they're violating your rights. One of the rights they're violating is right to education and shelter. They should give you shelter until you are of age, you are above 18. So when they violate those right for protection, shelter, education, then you should have that protected.
Yes, thank you. And we are done for today. Folks out there, I hope you have been taking notes and you have learned something.